Good afternoon, YouTube. It's me, Cynthia Alvarado, and I'm going to be sharing with you guys today how do I feel after my breast augmentation surgery that I had yesterday. So as you guys can see, my breasts are really, really swollen. I have to wear this bra for a month to make sure that I keep the breast in place. From 1 to 10, the scale of discomfort, I would say it's a 4. For any women who have children, if you remember what it feels like to have your breast really, really sore, kind of feels like a brick on your chest. That is the same feeling you have with breast augmentation surgery. When you're on the bed, you cannot push yourself up or you cannot reach really high to grab things. Other than that, you could walk around, you could still function, you could shower, things like that. The reason why I decided to get my breasts done before I went to prison was because I had 2 daughters who I breastfed, and I noticed that my breast started to get deflated, and it was started to cause a big insecurity within myself. So I did some research and I compared it to other women who had went through the procedure, and I started to look at their breasts, and some of them looked really, really horrible. Like some were like up and one was down, and you had some that were like really, really hard. And my fears were that I would get it done and I would look like that. So I started to research doctors, and I came across a doctor from Philadelphia by the name of Ted Eisenberg. I realized that he was a doctor that went behind the muscle, and at that time I really didn't know what behind the muscle even meant, right? Because I wasn't familiar with breast augmentations or the terminologies that were used. Behind the muscle just means that it's not going to go over and it's not going to go under. And a lot of times when you go behind the muscle, your breasts look exactly the same. It just gives you a much fuller effect. So if you're looking to have breasts that look exactly like yours, which are probably beautiful because that's what you were born with, then it's the same. You have the same look except for it's amplified, it's fuller, and it's beautiful. So I researched him, and the way that he puts the implants in, he puts a little small incision. I mean, it's microscopic under your breast, and he puts the bag in. When I first got my first breast augmentation surgery, I had just had a daughter, and I needed to wait since I was breastfeeding, for my breast milk to dry. So I had the breast surgery about 8 months after my daughter was born. So, I had to wait for the milk to dry up, like I said, and then I put the breast in. I had them for about like 6 months, and then shortly after I was arrested. I was arrested, and the whole time I spent almost 12 years in prison. The whole time that I was in prison, I had so much fear as to, oh my God, like what's gonna happen, if one of my breasts, if they pop, if they leak, anything, that was out of my control. Being in prison, there is really, really poor medical treatment. Having a cosmetic surgery such as breast implants is like really low on their priority scale. So at the time, when I was arrested, I was given a life without parole sentence. And in Pennsylvania, that means that you pretty much are going to die in prison if you're not successful with your appeals or, commutation. The time when I was arrested, which was about 12 years ago, there wasn't a lot of movement with commutation, and nobody wins, appeals in Pennsylvania. Everything is majority denied. So I had a lot of fears in prison about that, and I thought about it so much, like, wow, like if something happens to my breast, what's going to happen? Am I going to walk around with one breast? Because they would probably simply just remove it in the prison and leave me walking around with one deflated and one full. So, having to deal with all of, my legal troubles and, missing my family, I also had to deal with the reality that I had breast implants, and, I may, have them forever, and what health issues could that have caused while being in prison. Fortunately, I am a strong woman who has educated myself on the law when I was in prison. I did a lot of research, and I won my federal appeal, and I'm here now on YouTube telling you guys about, my breast augmentation experiences, but also my experiences in prison. So I won my appeal. I came home. I've been home for about 7 months, and this is day 2 of my surgery. Uh, you can see it's really, really like swollen all around here. But what happens is the first breast augmentation surgery that I had to do exercises. I had to hold the breast, count to 10, drop them, and I had to do that on both breasts so that my breasts could fall and they could look nice. So the second time around with this surgery, I didn't have to do those exercises, the doctor said, because my pockets were already open from already having like breast implants in there for so long. So the exercises I do now is zero. All I have to do is take my medication, my antibiotics, to make sure I don't get infections. He's giving me pain medication, but other than that, there's on the second surgery I didn't have to go through any of that, which was good. I don't really have much discomfort except for like in this area, it just kind of feels like a little bit of pressure. They're really, really swollen and they don't look how I want them to look now. But, thinking about my first surgery, they looked exactly the same. I had the feeling like, oh my God, are they going to stay like this? But guys, if you're thinking about it, don't get scared. It goes down and they fall into place. And the reason why I recommend breast implants, first I recommend self-love. Everybody should love themselves for who they are. But if you're a woman and you're noticing like you put like some shirts on and you're like, God, like you have to keep moving your breast around or fixing it, that's a sign of insecurity and a sign that you don't feel comfortable. And being an American and being a woman who empowers other women, I say if you want to fix something to give you a better quality of life, go for it. I recommend that women should do it. I mean, you only live once. I can say that when you have breast implants, you could wear pretty much any shirt. Like you could wear expensive shirts, you could even wear cheap shirts, and it just all looks nice. You actually save money because you don't have to really buy really, really expensive bras because your breasts are sitting up anyway, so you're wearing them just for pretty much like fashion and to look nice. Of course, self-love is important, and if you have your breasts natural, I think natural is beautiful as well. But I'm a woman that if there's something you want to fix, fix it. So I wanted to share you guys my experiences with breast augmentation because, some of my family members have been asking me, Cindy, does it hurt? What is it like? So it doesn't hurt at all. It's a very easy surgery. I was really nervous about going to sleep with the anesthesia. That's like the only part of surgery that kind of like freaks me out a little bit. But I've gotten to the point in my life that I figure, if I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die. What can I do, right? So that was like my only like apprehension that I had about the whole surgery, and having fears like, oh my God, am I gonna wake up? Will I die? Things like that, which are pretty like normal. But the anesthesiologist was amazing. She was a really beautiful Indian woman who we had an amazing conversation, and she just calmed me down and reassured me that everything was going to be okay. As soon as the anesthesia was administered, like literally, it was administered and I didn't remember anything after that. So that was a great thing. Then when I woke up, I went into surgery about like 9:30 and I got out, it's like 12:30. So when I woke up, I didn't even realize that I had breast implants. That's how easy the anesthesia is. The hospital was amazing. I was at Nazareth Hospital. The staff they were so welcoming. They were so loving, so caring, and they just treated you like you were a star, And I really want to thank that hospital for making me feel so at home, and it was just amazing. My doctor is amazing. He gave me a free book of one of the books that him and his wife wrote together, and it has a lot of information, and it just talks about the breast and how important and how good it can make you feel. So for all of the ladies who are having insecurities with your breast, whether you had children or maybe you want a size bigger, the recommendation that I could give you is get the size that you really want, because what happens is, let's just say if you're a B cup now and you want a C cup, as the years go by, you're like, damn, I should have gotten them a little bit bigger. So I don't encourage to go really, really big, but I don't encourage also to go to a medium size, because they say like once you get breast surgery that you always want them just a little bit bigger. So the first size that I got was a full C, a small D. And I was very happy with that size. Obviously I enjoyed them when I was in prison, but the size that I have now, I went up a size because what happens is, like, being away in prison, I went in there as 125 pounds, and I gained a substantial amount of weight just eating, like, the garbage food that you have in prison. So my skin stretched out my skin stretched out a little bit, and I started to feel like insecure about my breasts. Like, they sat up good, but they weren't positioned where they were in the beginning. So the only reason that I got a bigger size was to fill out that extra skin. So, but for people that, if you do get your breasts done and you maintain the same weight forever, your breasts will stay exactly the same, so you won't have to replace them. My doctor is amazing. He offers a lifetime warranty on the breast. So if anything ever happens, you get a free set of breasts, absolutely free. And I believe the only thing you have to pay for is like the mammogram. But YouTubers, I'm new on YouTube. I have a much bigger platform on Instagram. I thank you for having me. I hope that you guys, I was able to give you some information, and I'm so excited to venture off into YouTube. Obviously, I'm going to be doing a lot of things about cooking and having talks about criminal justice and things like that. But I love you so much, and I hope you guys, come to my page, and at least something you could have learned from me today. I love you, YouTube. And to all of my Instagram followers, we're like day ones together. Come check out my YouTube, and don't worry, it's gonna get better. I'm new at it, but I'm learning, and I promise you that it will be very interesting. I love you guys.